Hello, I'm Lori Steiner, sitting in for Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, drink up. We'll pore over information about the best beverages to imbibe as we age. Then, if you think only kids have ADHD, surprise, seniors do too. We'll offer advice for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Chewing on ice? Tearing open a bag with your teeth? Ouch! We'll dictate dental don'ts and do's. Plus, we'll read about wicked women who made their mark in Northeast Ohio and getting more or less from your Social Security benefits.
It's time to get GOing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. Lift your glass, and now drink it down. Why? Well, it turns out that adequately wetting our whistle is especially essential as we age. Dr. Christine Alexander is here to fill us in on why we should fill up on the wet stuff. Dr. Alexander is the chair of family health at Metro Health. So, welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
Now, we all have heard we should drink 6 to 8 ounces of water, glasses of water every day, no matter how old we are. What's so special about seniors then?
Well, as it turns out, what happens as we age is we start to lose this signal that tells us that we're feeling thirsty, that we're a little bit dry, and that connection to the brain and that connection that tells us go get something to drink becomes weak over time.
Okay. Also, taste buds and things like that change too?
Absolutely they do. Our sense of smell starts to decrease, our taste buds decrease, and that can affect appetite, but can also affect thirst. You know, what smells good to us, we're motivated to drink down, and so that connection also getting lower can impact our ability to stay hydrated.
Okay, so does it have to be water?
Well, water is just such a great choice for a lot of different reasons. No, it doesn't have to be water, but water doesn't have sugar, it doesn't have cholesterol, it doesn't have salt, and it serves a lot of good functions in the body. It helps us to maintain our circulation, helps us to kind of make sure our sodium or our potassium isn't too high, so lots of good impact from it.
Is juice okay?
So juice is good because it has fluid in it. However, it's better if you actually eat the fruits that have the juice in them, the watermelon, the grapes, the citrus, and then that way you're getting the fiber as well as the fluid content.
2-for-1 deal.
Absolutely.
So how about our morning cup of coffee?
So I wouldn't deny anybody their morning coffee, but you want to be careful with that because caffeinated coffee will serve as a diuretic. That means it stimulates our body to get rid of the fluid that we need. So you want to be very limited on the caffeinated products. And remember, even decaf has caffeine in it.
Oh, I thought the point of having a decaf was that it didn't.
Well, it's diminished, but still present.
Oh.
So you want to be really careful that you're not drinking 2, 3, 4 of those because you'll get the same amount of caffeine as in one.
Oh, wow, that much. Goodness gracious. How about iced coffee or tea, something like that?
And that's more appealing, I think, in the summertime months, and adding that ice in there increases the water content. But again, just be careful about the serving.
Okay, is it easier actually to get water in the summertime, you know, because we're warm and it's something cool to cool down, like maybe a fruit smoothie?
Well, fruit smoothie, a great idea. Again, not a lot of water in it. And, you know, if the thirst tells you I'm thirsty, then that's a motivation, but we're worried that that's diminishing. And sometimes it diminishes if you're feeling really hot. You might attribute it to other things. I'll, you know, go step through the sprinkler or whatever and not get that cold drink.
All right, so smoothies are kind of not so good. We need the water, okay. Are there any ways to sneak in extra servings of the water?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought that up because what we say is 6 to 8 of 8 ounces. But if you look at the cups here,
Now, this is 8.
that's 8. And this is 12. If you look at it, that's really not that much more. So one thing I like to tell people is when you're going to have a full glass of water with breakfast, lunch, dinner, make it a 12-ouncer. You're sneaking in that extra serving.
All right.
Also, if you're taking your medicines, instead of drinking it down with a sip or 2 of water, make it a full glass, and there you have your 6 to 8.
All right, making it easy for us. So we have to drink enough water. I think we all get that now. is there anything else, carrying water around with you? I mean, what's the best way to really remember to do it?
And I think carrying water around with you is a great way to keep sipping all throughout the day, but you want to be mindful of that intake, and look at it and see how much you really have drunk and how much more you have to, and you can make up for it then as the day goes on. Oh, I didn't, really drink but half of this, so let me increase it with my dinner or with when I take my next dose of medications. So yes, carrying it around with you is a great idea.
So it's whatever works for you, right?
Absolutely. Find out what works for you and go with it.
All right, good information. So here's to your health. Follow Dr. Alexander's easy-to-swallow advice and drink up daily. My thanks to Dr. Alexander for not watering down this important information.
Thanks so much.
To learn more, call Metro Health at 216-778-7800 or visit www.metrohealth.org. Next, attention please. But first, he was a very innovative inventor, averaging 1 patent for every 3 weeks of his life. So who lit the way for us to enjoy music and phone calls and rides on the rails? We'll name this electrifying design developer when we return.
My husband and I got into the car and we couldn't do it. We couldn't pick one baby over the other. Coming to Metro changed the entire pregnancy. We actually started to become happy with our situation. We owe a big thank you to Metro. I can't imagine our family without Sam.
In 1868, at the age of 21, Thomas Edison had his first successful patent, paving the way for the 1,092 that were to follow. His patent record prevailed until 2003, when a Japanese inventor surpassed him in patents, but that new record only remained until an Australian outnumbered it in 2008.
Do you usually show up late to appointments? Do you have trouble focusing on the task at hand? Do you often act before you think things through? I'm sure all of us would say yes to these questions at times, but Saul Tucker says if all of these behaviors consistently combine, you could have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Saul is a certified life coach who helps children and adults adapt. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, isn't ADHD things we deal with children, not adults?
Well, it's true, Lori, that the focus is generally on children. However, ADHD happens at every age. As a matter of fact, if you have ADHD, you do not outgrow it.
Oh, I always heard that too, so something to know. Tell us a little bit more about the symptoms of ADHD so we can kind of recognize what's going on.
Sure. So some of the symptoms of ADHD, people that have ADHD tend to live very much in the moment, not too much looking too far ahead or planning. And they're also not as aware of the flow of time. So these two things coupled together is why we tend to see people with ADHD often late for appointments or missing deadlines, for instance. Another of the symptoms would be that they don't have the ability to filter out all the external stimulation that's going on. So if you and I were sitting at a busy restaurant having lunch, you and I can engage in conversation and stay focused. Someone with ADHD, they're going to hear the conversation going on behind them, they're going to hear the clink of the dishes in the corner and the ringing of the phone, and they cannot make that into white noise. So it becomes very distracting and difficult for them to stay focused on the conversation at hand. Another big issue, and it can be humorous from time to time, but it can cause a lot of problems, is the impulsivity. Again, it's about filters. They just don't have the same filter system that you and I do, and they don't tend to pick up on all of the social cues that you and I might. So you might run into a friend you haven't seen for years, Lori, and the first thing out of their mouth is, "That's the blouse you chose to wear today?" You know, and we can laugh, but sometimes it can be very, very difficult. Yeah,
I mean, these kind of symptoms are going to make life pretty difficult, I would think.
Well, and that's true. And some things that I do like to make sure people understand about those with ADHD, there's a few things that are almost always generally true. They are very bright people, highly creative, and always well-intended. So these transgressions are by mistake. And the reaction to their actions are causing lots of frustration for them, and it has an effect on their self-esteem and confidence. They have been conditioned throughout their lives to expect that they're going to ultimately disappoint people.
Oh dear. So what are some of the steps that people can take to minimize the problem?
And that's really where we need to be. You're right on. So when we talk about the focus and the time management, I often talk about the ideal workspace for my clients. And an ideal workspace is a space for ADHD that is devoid of any distractions. So we don't want to have photos or books or even car keys, all things that could be much more interesting to me than the work I need to do. So I'll allow it to distract me.
Focus. That's the big problem.
So we also then talk about that space being sacred territory. You need to protect it. You cannot let it get infiltrated by other things. And what I mean is that I don't want you to eat or drink or take phone calls at this location. It's about conditioning them so that when they're in this space, they are going to be trained to hyper-focus and get the work done.
All right. These have been excellent tips for our viewers today. So, ADHD is manageable, and working with someone who understands you can make a big difference. That's why coaching can be very productive. You see results right away. If you have questions, give Saul a call. His number's coming up next.
For more information, call Tucker Life Coaching at 216-299-0260 or click to www.tuckerlifecoaching.com. Next, tips on how to treat your teeth. Looking for places to go? Things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. It may only be August, but on Ohio's event calendar, it's almost time for Oktoberfest. From August 29th to September 1st, the Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds will be overflowing with bratwurst, beer, entertainment, and activities. Visit www.clevelandoktoberfest.com to tap into the details.
How are you treating your teeth? If you're like most of us, you probably have some harmful habits that could push your pearly whites to their breaking point. Dentist Steve Marsh is here to help us defy these dental dilemmas.
Hi, Lori.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
So, we're not talking today about sugars and eating too much or brushing your teeth twice a day, and all those things are important. But we're talking about ways we use our teeth that could be a problem, like tearing a bag of chips open with your teeth.
Well, it's funny, tearing your bag open with your teeth isn't so terrible. One of the things that happens as we mature, get older, is our teeth start to thin because they've been working for 60, 70 years. So that can present a problem. Sometimes you can bite into something, you hit your teeth with a fork, that can be a problem. People who go into nursing care or even at home can trip and fall and break their teeth. So all those things can be a problem.
Okay, are there any foods that present a specific problem?
Well, I can tell you, Lori, at least once a month, somebody will come in and they'll tell me they bit down on an almond, they broke a tooth. Popcorn kernels.
Ooh, those are hard.
Yeah, that may be twice a month. Ice. People who chew ice can break a tooth. And one of the reasons that happens, Lori, as we get older is we've had a lot of fillings over the years with silver fillings. Silver fills the hole in, but it doesn't bond to the tooth. One of the things that we show right here is a patient who has an older silver filling, and if you look at it over the years, it's worn down a little bit, it's cracked, and you can actually see a fracture in the tooth. In the after picture, you can see we've replaced that silver filling with a composite. One of the advantages of the composites, besides looking a lot better, is it actually bonds to the walls of the tooth, so it strengthens it. But most of our viewers are people who have had a lot of silver fillings many years ago when they were done. And if they bite into something, that silver can act as a wedge and break off a part of the tooth.
Oof. So any other habits that are harmful?
Well, a lot of times people have problems with grinding because of stress. Sometimes it's sleep apnea. And that really wears teeth down, and we have some pictures to show how bad it can get. This is a patient who came to me. He had two problems. One, he was in a stressful job, and he also had sleep problems. And he had sleep apnea, and he ground those teeth back and forth. So here's a man about my age, and you can see they've also darkened. He had some problems with that. And he said, Steve, I can't live like this anymore. I see people all the time. What we ended up doing, Lori, was we made him porcelain veneers in the front or anterior section, and you can see this is his mouth. both after pictures of all porcelain building up the teeth with crowns. Again, today we use porcelains. They're very strong. We don't have to use those metals, so you don't see any lines, and it gives him a beautiful restoration. Now, I will caution you that at the end, we made him a night guard for sleeping, a soft one, so he's not grinding his teeth, and during the day, we asked him to wear it too, to protect those teeth from wearing down as well.
Wow, okay. So yeah, no sense in fixing it if it's all going to go away again. So we need to try to break these habits. So what can you do if we've already caused the damage?
The first thing you have to do is call your dentist right away. This is a patient of mine who was walking down the steps. It happened to be marble steps. She tripped at the bottom and fractured the tooth. Now, on an immediate basis, she called me, I said, come right in. We got her in. And what you see, Lori, in the after picture is what we call bonding. We've talked about that with viewers before. We used some composite to get her that restoration. I've also cautioned her to be careful. So she walked out. That's 45 minutes later. In the future, we may look at doing a veneer or a porcelain crown, but that's what she looked like. This is a young girl who was in a very terrible accident. She was actually horsing around, fell on her front teeth. You can actually see the stabilization. Those are not braces, but literally a stabilization of those teeth so they wouldn't loosen any more than they had. And then ultimately, we came back with porcelain veneers and crowns, splintered them together to give her the protection she needed. So whatever kind of accident, it's important that you address it as soon as you
Hopefully
can.
it's fixable. So it's time to break those bad habits and not your teeth. For help, give Steve a call. His number is next.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, something wicked this way came. It's time to get up and go, an exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and we are here today to show you not only how to work your important shoulder muscles, but also the triceps in the back of the arm. Every woman wants to work that area. You ready to do it?
I was born ready.
All right, let's do it. We got our bands here. We're going to start with the bands under our backside because we want to be seated on the band just to make sure they stay in place. What we're going to do from here is we're going to start with our hands at about a 45-degree angle and our palms just above our shoulders. We're simply going to press that band up above the head, just about touch, and bring them back down to the starting position, okay? We're looking for 12 to 15 repetitions, slow and controlled movement, and also please do not rock back and forth. Maintain that good posture. How you feeling, Lori?
Oh, taller already.
Taller already? All right,
taller,
yeah. That's good. You got some strong shoulders there, everybody. Okay, 12 to 15. Make sure you're breathing. And now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
Let's say you're an author with a degree in criminal justice. You like writing about history, you're from this area, and you're a woman. What would you write about? For Jane Terzillo, the answer was easy, unearthing the stories of local shady ladies. The result is Wicked Women of Northeast Ohio, and she's here to share a few stories from her top 10 most wanted list. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So there's actually women in our area that have a past?
Oh, more than you might think. And learning about these women through old newspapers, court records, and the wonderful librarians that we have in Northeast Ohio was just both fascinating and fun.
Oh gosh, well we've got a few stories right for our viewers today, so let's start with Akron Mary.
Yes, Akron Mary, well her real name was Mary Outland Woodfield, and she was, as you can see, she was actually a beautiful young girl, but she liked the high life. She wanted excitement, and she had been married 3 times, and she had 2 children, and that wasn't enough excitement for her.
Oh boy.
So near 1929, 1930, she met a man named Pittsburgh Jaime Martin. Now he was a kind of a low-level crook. He was a bootlegger, and but he was able to show her the excitement that she wanted, and they would go dancing and everything. They were in love. The only problem was he was married and he had a small child. Now he was accused of murdering Rarin Bill Potter, who was a Cleveland councilman. He's shown there on the right. He was a Cleveland councilman he had less than a stellar reputation, shall we say. And after they arrested Jaime Martin, they wanted to arrest Mary, but she went underground, and it took 30 days and going through 2 states to find her. When they finally did find her, she was not going to testify against her lover. So that was kind of the life of a bootlegger. He was convicted once of that crime. He was not convicted the second time, however.
Okay, and an interesting tidbit, you learned a little bit more about her afterward, right?
Oh yes, what was so funny is her grandson actually called me, and he told me more about her and more about his family and everything. And so as we were talking, I asked him, I said, well, where do you live? And he lived right behind me.
Oh my gosh.
So you never know who knows what.
It's a small world, they
Yes.
always say.
Yes.
And you got a story about another 1920s party girl who got herself into more trouble even, so that's Velma West.
Yes, that's Velma, and she lived in Perry. She was married to a man named Eddie West, and she was kind of the quintessential rapper. You know, she liked to smoke, she liked to drink, she liked to play cards and such. So one evening she was going to go out to a party in Cleveland, and Eddie did not want her to go. So they got into kind of a quarrel, and it escalated, and you know, what's a girl to do? She grabs a hammer and she clobbers him, you know. So she wasn't sure that she had done quite a good enough job, so she threw a blanket over him. She took the electrical cords, wrapped them around his ankles, wrapped them around his wrists, and well, then she hit him a few more times.
Think he was dead then?
And so then she shucked off these bloody clothes, threw them in the furnace, and put on her party clothes and dashed off to Cleveland for the party. She was arrested and put in prison, but that was not the end. She escaped from prison and went to Texas, was in Texas for about a month until they finally captured her again. She died in prison. She had a weak heart and died in a prison hospital.
Okay, well, this isn't even enough for you, right? You wrote one book, but you even now have a new book coming out here.
Yes,
so
I do.
More murder, more arrests.
Yes, Murder and Mayhem on Ohio's Rails. That's 10 stories on train robberies in Ohio. The first train robbery, peacetime train robbery in the United States was in Ohio, and the last great train robbery was Alvin Karpus in Ohio.
Oh boy, more information. So, have we whet your appetite for more wicked women? Then use the information that's coming up next to order Jane's book for yourself. My thanks to Jane for sharing such entertaining and arresting stories.
To buy the book and to find out more, visit Janet Terzillo's website, www.janetterzillo.com. Next, a little-known Social Security tip and trap.
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
Earlier this year, we told you about a little-known strategy to get more from your Social Security benefits. But today, we'll tell you about another rule that can cut into your benefits. Here to explain is my very socially secure law partner, Mike Solomon.
Hello, Laurie.
So, let's recap how viewers can save and get more Social Security benefits.
Okay, now this is a really good benefit. It's going to be easier to explain, though, with an example. So let's say the husband's 66 years old, and his Social Security benefit would be $2,500 a month. If he waits to age 70, it's going to kick up to $3,300 a month. So if he puts that off, waits to 70, and instead elects his spousal benefit, so let's say his wife was going to get a Social Security benefit of $1,500 a month, he could get half of that, or $750 a month, wait until he gets to age 70, then elect his benefit, could jump back up to $3,300 a month, and the couple is going to get over $50,000 in benefits by taking that choice.
Good tip. So what's the
Extra
bad
benefits.
news? How can Social Security cut your benefits?
Well, okay, that's another rule. It's a benefits test. So if people are under age 66, and let's say they elect for Social Security, but they're under their normal retirement age, the benefits are cut back. It's cut back $1 for every $2 you earn above this this base, a number which is $15,480. So if they're above that, their benefits cut back.
Okay, 2 for 1. Do you have an example to help us understand that?
Yeah, it'd be better. Let me give you a simple example, or hopefully a simple example. Let's say the wife is earning $60,000, and she's electing her benefit early. It's cut back, so it cuts back over time. And what happens is her benefit, let's say her Social Security benefit was $18,000. It's going to be cut back based on this formula because her income is so high to $7,700 a year.
Big cutback,
so that she's
boy.
losing like $10,000 a year.
Wow, that's a huge thing you really got to be careful of. Right. Now, in the earlier strategy that you were mentioning, the husband was taking a spousal benefit based upon his wife's Social Security record. Would the earnings test also cut those benefits?
It does, and it also has a double whammy. The wife, in this example, her benefits are cut back, but when she hits age 66, they recalculate the benefits to make up those lost benefits that were cut back because she made too much money. It doesn't work for the husband. He's permanently lost those benefits that were cut back.
Wow. So it's not so easy when you're applying for Social Security benefits.
You really have to sit down and do the math and make sure what you're choosing fits your needs.
Really works.
Right.
Okay. Social Security, along with Medicaid, Medicare, and other government programs, can help ensure family stability, and you should get all that you're entitled to receive. But these programs are complicated. It's not so simple as just sign up and the right amount of benefits will automatically be sent to you. For more information to protect your rights, give Mike a call.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information, or to schedule a speaker for your organization, or log on to www.bssplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, are you donating dollars? You and your charity could get more for your money by bestowing stocks. We'll explain. Then, seniors are signing up for the Peace Corps. We'll learn why they find this type of volunteering so valuable. Is exercise your enemy? We have tips that are fit to be tried. Plus, at a certain age, are there don'ts for your do's? We'll study your hairstyle to see if it should be trendy or timeless. But until then, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.